Hey Mallards, it is Wednesday. We are back at the lovely Montverde Academy for the second day of senior Freeplays. We get 5 shows today because we're just that lucky. So we already saw the first one. It was Aiden Bjorkvet's, and his was My Words and Other Words, which was a cabaret style musical number that alternated between him singing and him playing piano while other people in the class sang. Did a bunch of mostly musical theater numbers, all very, very well done from a singing standpoint. Also, an amazing rendition of Corner of the Sky, which is one of my favorite songs because I love Pippin a lot. And that version was absolutely fantastic. Aiden knocked it out of the park with that. All of his vocal variation choices were very good, and that song just came off so well. And I also really highlight for me, and I think for Mel too, was watching Aiden's face when the girls were performing, because he was so proud.
They were so proud of them. It's so
cute. But it was really, really, really well done. Also, since seniors designed the whole part of their free play, lighting design on this, so good. It was so good. The lighting changes, the different dynamic lighting choices for each song and how they related to that particular piece of music, everything was very good. And now we're pumped for all the rest of them. We got 3 more Aidens.
Oh my.
Well, we have 3 Aidens total, I guess. We got 2 more Aidens.
2 more.
And I think the other ones today are Logan and Ambria. So who knows what's going to come up next, but we're going to go check it out.
All of these stars.
Show number 2, Logan Lopez's Toad the Musical, which I didn't know necessarily what Toad meant, but Toad as in the Mario. Toads, the Mario characters. Featuring not Toad, because Toad is the name of the species, and it's weird that a character is named that, but it does have Toadette in it.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. It was very, very well done. Oh my goodness, it is a musical.
I'd watch the rest of it.
I would absolutely watch the rest. I don't think that there was much left in this short version, but I'd watch a full-length version of this. I really, really enjoyed it. The comedic timing was phenomenal. The dark humor was exquisite. And Anthony as Bowser made me one of my favorite things in the entire world now.
I like the costume design.
Yes.
The very, modern rock.
Yeah.
Villains was very fun.
The whole thing slayed.
Anthony
Absolutely
with red
slayed.
hair.
Yeah, okay. The whole thing slayed. We're going to have to go back in for the next show because they got to turn around pretty quick because it ran a little bit long. But, we'd watch the whole thing again. Absolutely hilarious. Fantastic job, Logan, with all of it. Choreography, songs, the acting, script. It was all so good. The set, everything was phenomenal.
It was very fun.
I enjoyed that so much. Also, the Mario, Sydney's Peach, but the Mario mustache being on his because he has to come back and play Bowser Jr., right? So good. Okay, we should go back in. We just finished senior free play number 3. This was Ambria Benjamin's. It was a discussion of diversity, inclusion, and responsibility. And the responsibility of privilege, the responsibility of humanity as a whole, I would say, and a discussion of the difference between being not for something versus being against something. Is maybe the best way to lay that out.
Being not for it and being anti
are different things.
Yeah.
And it was a discussion of how we need to be more anti, about how ally is a verb, and that means that you're actually working at things. It was a very moving presentation, and obviously very personal for Ambria, because she got choked up several times. Obviously, as the most privileged of this conversation right here, of the two of us.
Yep.
How did you feel about it?
I felt like everything she said was really important. As a white passing, as a very, privileged seeming person, I do have a lot of privilege in that I am white passing, cis passing, just things can be easier for me as opposed to, let's say, my sister who has a much darker shade of skin than I do. Our privilege is very different, and it's very important to talk about those things. And I have to acknowledge my privilege all the time, especially because I am the only white passing person in my family. So I have a much higher level of privilege than they all do. I have a much higher level of education than everybody else in my family. I just have a lot of privilege compared to them. So it is very important.
Yeah. And I obviously have a ridiculous amount of privilege as a human. It is something that I am well aware of. I'm very lucky to be raised by a family who is also very aware of their own privilege and always has been. But that doesn't mean that I am not lacking in a lot of spaces, because I am. Plain and simple, privilege has been used to my advantage, and I feel like Ambria did a great job of presenting that as these are things that people need to do, these are things that people should do, these are things that people have, this is what privilege is. That doesn't make any of you bad people.
Yeah. I also like that it wasn't she was very good at saying, don't feel bad for me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel bad for me. That's not the point. Just acknowledge that your life could be easier because of something that you don't even recognize, and use that to make it easier for people who you can help as well.
Yep. Very, very well done. And I think very important. And I'm glad that it was part of these senior free plays.
Yeah.
And now,
So good.
2 more remaining Aidens.
Woo!
Let's go. We've got 2 senior free plays to talk about. 2 Aidens. Which, if you were just gonna be a betting person and you were going oh, I wonder what the senior's name was. If you said Aiden, you have a 1 in 3 chance of being correct. So
that's scary accurate.
And if you're just naming boys, it's a 50% chance of being correct. So first up was Aiden Corey. His show was Spiritus Mundi, and it was a set of monologues is maybe a spoken piece of several different poems, monologue bits, famous quotations, a bunch of different stuff, shot and recorded and then edited together. I know he does a lot of video editing, so I think that's where that comes from. The lighting effects were really, really good, and the way that the lighting set the mood for the different quotes was very well done. And I enjoyed his presentation. Some pieces I knew, some pieces I did not know, some pieces I have now Googled since watching that. Yeah. I looked up apparently a William Butler Yeats poem because I liked the line that piece ended with, which was at midnight God will win. He goes off to war with God, and at midnight God will win. I Googled that, so it's now in my library of things I know. And I liked that one. And then the final show was Aiden Fracker, who did a song cycle of 5 songs that he wrote himself, performed by him and Anthony and Sydney. And it was a trio song. Well, yes, a trio song, but with individual verses. And then everybody had a solo, and then they all sang together at the end. And it was essentially a song cycle about growing older and trying to find your place in the world. And it was so good.
It was really good.
Very, very good. The songs were incredibly well done. It matched the vocal ranges of the performers, and I recognize he had a unique opportunity to know who was going to perform the songs and write to them, and clearly took advantage of it and did such a good job with that. And strong lyrics, which I obviously appreciate. And then the design of it was well done. I also enjoyed watching him, similar to Aiden at the beginning of the night. just smiling as the other two performed.
It was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he did a very good job at, like, voicing some of the things that someone older than him would be experiencing, because one of the characters was, like, obviously a man, like, much older than him, and in that it seemed like someone who would have been probably, like, 30 or 40.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
And, like, he did a really good job at voicing what someone in that age who still feels like they're not old enough would feel.
Yeah. I totally relate to that, being 33 and definitely not feeling old enough all the time.
Yeah.
And that was it for this evening. All 5 pieces were very different, and all 5 pieces were very, very good. It's amazing what incredible, talented students can do if you let them be themselves. Wow, look at all of these incredible things that were created because people were allowed to do what they felt passionate about. And I am a firm believer that if you let people follow their passion, they will create amazing things. Follow your passions.
Yeah.
And I'll see you tomorrow.